2008 BMW 335i oil filter housing replacer. I'm Brian Nesser from How To Automotive. I'm going to walk you through the steps of replacing that. To get started, we need to remove the top engine cover, and to do that we're also going to need to remove this cowling up here. So the first thing I'm going to do is right here is where the battery cables go. They route over the top of the engine. So I'm going to pop this cover up like this and pop the cables out. And pop the cable out of the little loom here and kind of just flip it over like that. And I'll do the same thing for the little electrical connector and flip the wires off like that. Next, we're going to take this little wire loom holder off. So you're going to grab it on one side here and one side here and equally pull, and that'll pull the whole loom off, and you'll set that aside. Okay, now we need to get the wire loom that's underneath off. A lot of times you can just pull them off, but sometimes there's little catches in here. You take a little flat blade screwdriver right here, and you just push the little tab down right there, and then you pull out, and you'll do the same thing for here and here. And then this wire loom will come down and hang down. You just let it rest on top of the cover. Now that the wire loom is free from the upper portion of the cowling, we're going to remove the cabin air filter cover here. So there's going to be 6 screws. So one here, here, corner, here, here, and here. Remove all those, and this cover will come off and set up. So now we're going to pop the cover off here and here. And to do that, we're just going to pop the rubber little grommet off like this. And then right here on the back, there's a little tab you're going to squeeze and pull. And the cover will come off. You'll do the same thing for the opposite side. On the driver's side here, there's going to be a little wire loom. You're just going to grab the little tabs and pull those off like that. And then there should be either a clip or an 8mm bolt right here. And you'll remove that here. This one's missing on this particular car, but you'll remove it there. And then on the passenger side, you're going to take the ambient air temperature sensor and you're going to twist quarter turn and pull out like that, and then you'll pop the clip off here and here. And then, like I said, this one has the bolt that's here, so you'll remove the 8mm bolt, and then you'll lift the whole tray out. Now you're going to take the 4mm Allen here, or the 5mm Allen bolt here, I'm sorry, and remove it. One back here, and then you're going to maneuver the harness out of the way. Right back here is going to be a fourth one. You remove all 4 of the Allens. Once you remove the 4 bolts, then you can lift the cover out and slide it out. Next, we're going to work on removing this air cleaner assembly here. So we're going to start by removing the torque screw here and here, and you're removing this air snorkel. So this will pull out and then off. Next, I'm going to remove the lid for the air cleaner by popping the clips all the way around the box and then pulling the lid off. Go ahead and remove the air filter also and set that aside. Next, I'm going to loosen up the hose clamp here, and then I'm going to pop the brake booster hose here out of the bracket here, like that. Then I'm going to squeeze the little tabs here and separate. The best way to do this is push them in together, squeeze the tab, and then pull the top half of the brake booster hose off, separate it. Then you're just going to swing it out of your way and kind of just tuck it out of your way. So now right here where the battery cables and the wire looms go, they're attached to the bottom of the air box. So you're going to lift this little rubber grommets up like that and pull them off, all 3 of them. And then you're going to loosen up this hose clamp right back here. Now that you got those off, we're going to grab the air cleaner kind of in the corner here and in the corner here, and we're going to pull up on it, and it's held on by these little rubber grommets in a couple spots. So there's a couple back here in the back, right here. So we're going to pop it up. We're just going to lift up on them until they pop out of those rubber grommets, like that. And you kind of just work it. Now you're going to remove the rest of the air box out. So now that we got the air box out, we're going to focus on getting this air tube out here, the inlet tube here. And first we need to pop off the little secondary air injection connectors, and these vent lines here go on them. And the way these come off is if you take the tabs and you just rotate the plastic tab like that, then you can pull the valve out like that. So you'll do that for all 3 of these valves. So you'll rotate them and then pull the hoses out. Okay, after getting them out, just leave all the vacuum lines and everything hooked to them, just kind of push them over to your side like this. Next you're going to do is remove the hose clamp here, and you're going to remove the torque bolt here for the bracket, and you're going to pop this clip out, and then this whole snorkel will come off and remove it from the car and set it aside. So once you get that clip popped out, like I said, and everything unbolted, you can just kind of work it off. So now I got the front of my car jacked up a little bit, and I slid a bucket underneath the car because we're going to remove the upper radiator hose. We're going to dump out a little bit of coolant. So we're going to pop the clip out here, just kind of like the way we took the clip off here on the air snorkel oil. So we'll pop the clip out here and pop the hose off, and we'll kind of just tuck it out of our way. So once you get the clip popped out like that, you can just take a little pry bar right here on the edge of the hose and pop the hose off like that. And then just, like I said, just kind of tuck it out of your way for right now. Okay, after getting the hose off, we're going to take these coolant hoses off here, and right underneath here is a 13 millimeter bolt right in between the two hoses here. So I'm going to use a little flex head ratchet like this, and get it under here and crack the bolt free, and then you can spin the bolt out, and then this hose will come off, and you're going to just tuck it up over here. Now I'm going to go ahead and unplug the oil pressure switch right here, and I'm going to go ahead and take off the cap and take out the oil filter. To get the oil filter off, I'm going to use my my AST oil filter cap socket here. I will leave a link for this in the description, as well as all the other tools that I'm using that I think will help you guys out in this job. So at the end of the video, look for those at the end of the description of the video. What we need to do now is we actually need to remove the intake manifold bolts and pull the intake manifold back a quarter inch or so to get to one bolt. And that particular bolt is right here. If you pull these vacuum hoses off and you look right underneath there, you can see the bolt there. So we need to pull this back a few inches just to get to the one bolt. So on the intake manifold here, there's going to be 7 bolts here, it looks like, and they're all going to be 11 millimeters. So there's going to be a mix of bolts and nuts. So you're going to remove the bolts and nuts all the way across, and so they're not hard to get to at all. They're right here, and they're one in between and up, and then one low in down here and one here. So this is going to be like kind of like that staggering pattern. And once you get them all pulled out, then you're just going to pull the intake manifold back. Okay, once you get the intake unbolted, then you can just pull it back, and all you have to do is pull it back just a quarter or half inch or so, and then you can maneuver the vacuum hoses and electrical connectors here out of your way, and right there you can sneak a extension and so after getting the intake unbolted, you pull it back and push it back towards the firewall as far as you can, and then you should be able to get a E10 female torque socket in there, and an extension like this, and you should be able to remove the bolt. There's plenty of room to remove the bolt, and this is the female torque socket I'm talking about. I'll leave the links in the description for those. Okay, after removing the bolt in the back, then you're going to go ahead and remove the bolt here on the front, and then you're going to need an E10 wrench. This one's made by VMI Tools. I'll leave a link for this in the description. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to put your wrench kind of through the fan blade here, and then put it onto the bolt here, and then you crack it free. And after you get it cracked free, a couple threads, then you can reach your hand around back like this and spin the bolt out. If you don't have the wrench like this, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to remove the 10 millimeter bolt here and here and pull this hose off, and then you can get a regular socket and an extension on it from underneath, but you'll have to replace the O-ring and stuff like that for this coolant hose here. So that's an alternative. So once you get that bolt out and these 3 other bolts out here, so after you get that last bolt out of the bottom down there, you'll just slide the old oil filter housing out of the way, and as you can see, it makes quite a mess. Even back here, runs down to the front of the block, creates a huge mess. So now you can clean this up. The way I like to clean these up is I like to clean up the surface here as best I can, and then clean back here as best I can. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to reassemble it. I'm going to take it over to and have it the front of the motor just pressure washed and wash it off of a high pressure hose. That's the best way to get all this, because this stuff goes everywhere. And if you try to use brake clean and parts cleaner like that, you'll be in here and you'll use tons and tons of cans. So it's better just to take it down and have it pressure washed, at least the front portion of it, and maybe slightly under the intake, and flush everything out of there. Now that we got our oil filter housing off, what we're going to do is we're going to separate one more half. We're going to take the oil cooler portion of it off the filter housing. So there's 3 more bolts. You're going to remove the torque bolt here, here, and on the bottom there, and this half of it will come off, and then we'll change the gasket that goes in there. I'll leave a link in the description for the gaskets, and then this is the gasket on the bottom here. We're going to change that out, and then these are the O-rings for the oil lines that plug into the bottom of the oil cooler here. So once you got them all apart like that, you'll just clean them all up and change out all the gaskets. So after changing out all the gaskets, you're going to reinstall the housing and start all 3 bolts and tighten them down. So the one underneath here, and then one under the... Okay, now that all 3 of the bolts are retorqued down, you can go ahead and slip your intake manifold back over the studs and start the 11mm nuts and bolts. And I would start in the middle, tighten the middle one, and then this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and then the end one down there. And they have little O-rings on there, so you don't that seal it, and they rarely go bad. So I don't even bother replacing them. I just reuse them. Now you can go ahead and reinstall a new oil filter and O-ring on the cap. Plug in the oil pressure sensor. Now I'm going to change out the O-rings on the oil cooler lines, and then reinstall them and reinstall the bolt in the center. Now we can go ahead and reinstall the upper hose. So you'll line it up, push it onto seats all the way, and then you'll pick the clip and push it into it locks. Give it a nice pull to make sure it's not going to pop back off. Now we can go ahead and reinstall the intake boot. So you'll pop it over the throttle body here, and then on the intercooler on the portion of it down here, we'll plug it in and tighten up the clamp, and then also re-secure the torque bolt onto the bracket. Now you can re-secure the valves. They just push on, and you just twist the little tabs until they lock into place. So you line them all up, push them all on, and when you do this, you want to double check, make sure none of the vacuum lines came off or broke, and you're just going to twist the locking tabs into place. And some of them twist left and some of them twist right, so you have to look at them. Now we're going to reinstall the lower portion of the air box. So this port's going to go into the boot here, this port's going to go into the boot here, and then these little rubber grommets are going to line up with these little posts here and here, and there's going to be one here on the opposite side here that are all going to line up, and you'll push it down and lock it into place. And then once it's in there, then you'll reinstall the harnesses that mounted onto the little tabs on this port here. Okay, after securing the bottom portion of the air box, including tightening the clamps in the back, put your air filter in and then install your lid. So they'll scoop under, snap down and snap all the clips on. Brake booster hose here, and route it through and clip it into its port here, and make sure it snaps and clicks together, and give it a tug to make sure it doesn't pop back out, and also pop it back into the air box right here. Now we'll install the air snorkel. So you'll install it the nose in first, and then install the port here, and then install the 2 screws right here. Now we're going to take this portion of the package tray, and these little tabs right here have to hook under right here. So if your little weather stripping has popped off, and then put that back on, and it's got to hook under like that and then drop down. Once you get it tucked in there like that, in the corners there's going to be a little rubber boot. You're going to line up this slot, push it in, and also there's going to be 8mm bolt at 1 in each corner. Go ahead and start those. Now the covers that went on each side, left and right side, you go ahead and re-secure those. So you'll line those up, and they just have the little clips in the corners in the back. It just snaps on. And then there's a little rubber portion of the boot here in the corner that you'll... Then the little wire loom that was secure, you just remount them to the little brackets and push them on. This one's not plugged into anything on this particular vehicle. On other vehicles it may have a different setup where something's plugged into it, but this one's capped off. So you're just gonna re-secure them onto the brackets. On the passenger side, you'll take the ambient air temperature sensor, and you'll line it up like with the tab, turn it until it locks in place, and then reinstall the mounting clips. Now you're going to reinstall the cabin air filter, and then install all the screws. Now we need to top off the coolant. So what we're going to do is take out the bleeder screw, So take the bleeder screw out, and we're going to fill it up till it's full, completely full, and overflowing out of the vent here. Then we'll put the vent screw back in, the bleeder screw back in. So after it's completely full and there's no more air bubbles coming back out, go ahead and put the screw back on and tighten it down. You're just going to make them snug. They're just made out of plastic, so you just snug them up. And once they're snug, then what we're going to do is take a turkey baster and suck out some of the coolant, and we're going to suck out the coolant until this float here floats down until it's level with the top of the neck right there, and that's at the perfect level. And then we'll recap it and go for a test drive. Also, I recommend that you go ahead and finish draining the oil out and do an oil change on it too, since we've already changed the filter housing and the filter and everything. So go ahead and start off fresh, and that will complete the job of replacing the oil filter housing. I'm Brian Eswick from How To Automotive. I'd like to thank you guys for watching my videos, encourage you to subscribe, invite you to head over to the howtoautomotive.com website for more valuable videos like this. And remember, I'll be putting links in the description of the video for all the tools and parts that I use in this video. And I'd like to thank you again for watching.